It's your buddy Ramalina back at it again with another episode. I apologize if I've been missing in action. I typically try to film at least one video or a couple of videos or 3 or 4 on the weekends. Just given the fact that, during the week, sort of busy with a bunch of other things, other family obligations, things that need to be attended to during that time. So I'll try to get back into the swing of things, and I think you guys will enjoy today's episode. Today, it is Sunday. Today is the day, it's the last season of Game of Thrones, and I myself am excited. My wife's excited. I know a bunch of you guys out there, definitely excited to see how the last season plays out. As far as Game of Thrones, my wife and I have been watching the show from pretty much the get-go, and falling in love with like the characters, falling in love with like the story. The whole series is epic from beginning to end. If you guys have never watched it, there's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of deceit, a lot of sort of backstabbing. You name it, the show has it. Of course, TNA, most importantly, in the show. But yeah, definitely excited to see how this last season plays out. And with that being said, kind of just wanted to show off a couple of the latest pops that I've was lucky to pick up. One of my good friends, one of my buddies at GameStop, this guy named Ryan. He's a pop collector himself. But with him, he had these guys a while back. I'm guessing he picked them up during the first season, maybe the second season, when they came out, before the show became like this phenomenon. But he's a fan of Dragon Ball Z. I'm a fan of Game of Thrones. We sort of worked out a trade, sort of worked out a deal, and I think we're both happy with what we got. And so one of the first pops that I got was, of course, Mr. Jaime Lannister, who, of course, in the show is sort of the right-hand man to Cersei, sort of like her most trusted confidant. Of course, it's her brother. And without giving away too much, just because I know maybe some of you guys have maybe never seen the show, maybe don't know the character himself, but Jaime, during the show is known as sort of like a traitor in some senses. He's definitely known as, almost like this vile sort of like person, heartless, arrogant. I know when the show first came out, he was definitely like, definitely a hated character. Definitely a character that people didn't like, care for. But as the seasons progressed, you saw a different side of Jaime. And like I said, without giving away too much, I'd rather you guys tune into this show and see how it plays out. But I was super excited when Ryan told me about his pop collection. These things are from what year? I think they're from 2013. So these are 6-year-old pops. The boxes came in pretty decent condition. Some wear and tear, but given the fact that it's a 6-year-old pop, I'm not very picky. I immediately put it in a soft protector. So but I'm definitely in love with this pop. The detail on it is pretty outstanding. He's got the chainmail, the golden chainmail, like I said, I like the simplicity of some of the older pops. Nowadays, the sculpts are much more elaborate, much more intriguing. But there's something to be said about these pops from way back when. Maybe less is more sometimes. But I'm glad Ryan hooked me up with this, and shout out to you, buddy. Of course, we've got something else. We've got 2 more, and of course, this is the one and only Robb Stark, who is son to Ned Stark, who is a pivotal, sort of important character in the first couple of seasons. Um, of course, he's the half brother or brother to Jon Snow. Of course, who doesn't know Jon Snow? Who doesn't know Kit Harington? Um, this guy was an awesome character. Uh, to me, like, he's definitely one of the top three favorite characters in the show. You know, I don't want to give away anything, but you know, the one thing about this show is if you're invested into anybody, and if you really, really like anybody, and if you think that they'll sort of make their presence known, and, you know, basically, you know, be in the show throughout, sometimes you get rudely sort of like awakened and sort of like surprised by some of the twists and turns in the show. But yeah, this guy was such a pivotal character. Definitely, he did his best to sort of kind of navigate through the evil world of Game of Thrones, where, you know, lying and backstabbing is pretty much commonplace. This guy was a stand-up guy, was honorable, was brave. He would do anything for his family. So yeah, he was just definitely a character that I gravitated to, and yeah, no, this pop is freaking amazing. I love it. Once again, the simplicity of some of these pops, you know, are definitely nothing compared to like what you see nowadays with some of these, some of the pops. You know, they're big. I mean, way back when they didn't have 10-inch pops. Nowadays they do. Way back when you didn't have like the glow in the dark pops. But these, you know, like I said, simple is sometimes much better. But yeah, I'm lucky that I also have this guy in my collection. And last but not least, of course, we have the Hound himself. Definitely a gritty, sort of rough around the edges character. You know, this guy has a cool backstory. You know, definitely, I think he was sort of misunderstood. Definitely, the poor guy has some serious PTSD. I don't want to give away too much, just because, like I said, I'm not sure who's watching the video, and I'm not sure if you guys have watched it, but I don't want to give away too much of the story. But this guy is definitely a badass in the show. Definitely a part of the Kingsguard, I believe, in the first couple of seasons. But definitely a proud warrior, definitely a vicious warrior, definitely the kind of guy that you don't want to mess with. But once again, just like I said with Jamie, the first couple of seasons, this guy was definitely sort of crude and nasty and sort of, you know, a despicable character. But as the seasons progress and as you get to know the character and, you know, they fill out the character, you get to see a much different side of the Hound. One that's not so angry and hostile. But yeah, I love this pop. As you can see, he's got, you know, the scarring on the right side of his face. So, you know, don't want to give it away unless you guys want to know. But you know, in this mold, he looks sort of like sad and sort of mopey. He definitely carries that in the show as well. You can definitely see that he's carrying some sort of burden. He's definitely, you know, shows a much darker side, definitely much more vicious side when he's obviously doing his thing. But behind all that, you know, there's more to this character, and yeah, like I said, I'm glad that I have, you know, the Hound in my collection. My buddy Ryan at GameStop definitely hooked me up with some phenomenal pops. I, you know, gave him, you know, my entire like Dragon Ball Z collection, just because I'm not quite as fond of the series. I know, I mean, it's bad for me to say that because I know a bunch of my friends love Dragon Ball as a whole, but I said it's a trade that worked out for both of us. He got what he wanted, I got what I wanted, so you know, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys think, you know, these things are as cool as I think they are. But yeah, with that being said, guys, you enjoy your day. Happy hunting, and let's go. Game of Thrones tonight, 9 o'clock. I'll be there. Later, guys.